Here is Volume 2 of visually stunning anime fights. Unfortunately, there are only so many ways to describe how beautiful a scene is. Therefore, I will be focusing more on providing a summary on the anime or scene itself, rather than repeating how gorgeous every one of these entries are. No Game No Life Zero is a recollection of the war from 6,000 years ago, explaining the background of many characters and events that took place prior to the TV series. It's a must-watch movie for fans of the series, however, it may have felt a little rushed. The movie had to cover the Great War, a love story, and elaborate on multiple characters, all within approximately 2 hours, which is a difficult task. Nevertheless, the animation and artwork were outstanding, but unlike the colourful nature of the original series, this movie has a much darker theme, but it was surprisingly fitting for the movie. This is a world where supernatural beings and humans are forced to live side by side after a mysterious gate opened several years ago. Amongst the abnormal, we have the main character, a fairly casual kid but gifted with a special eye that he attained at the cost of his sister's own vision. Now, this loving brother is on a quest to unravel the mysteries behind his new eyes and also help his sister somehow. On his journey, he manages to join the ranks of a powerful organisation, like all plain main characters do, and gets entangled into many more extraordinary events. Zap is one of the many members of this organisation that demonstrates within 30 seconds just how powerful members of this organisation are. Unlike One Punch Man's second season, Mob Psycho 100 delivered a sequel arguably better than the first season. Mob is a quiet, kind-hearted individual, constantly restraining his emotions in fear of his psychic powers accidentally hurting someone. There's a strong connection between his emotional state and his powers, and this was one of the few times where he was able to truly let loose. Both his powers and emotions were relieved of any constraints, and we can finally see him enjoy a battle for a change. Although this was a short-lived moment due to his disappointment in himself for carelessly using such great powers with little regard to his surroundings. This is the 14th One Piece movie, commemorating the 20th anniversary of the series. This movie's plot was somewhat a shrunk version of the overarching plot of the entire series, pirates racing to find treasure. As usual with One Piece movies, there were many beautifully animated fights, but the scene that caught my attention was Zoro's fight. Zoro has certainly become far stronger from the days when he was defeated by a butter knife, strong enough to put up a fight against an admiral. Even meteors were not enough to take out Zoro. However, he still has a ways to go before he can compete against the #1 swordsman of One Piece, who essentially erased the meteor from existence with a single strike. If you ever wondered what Jotaro vs Dio's time-defying battle in an alternative universe would be like, well, this is it. Fire Force generally has fantastic animation and sound design, but this clash between these brothers was probably the peak of animation from this show. In fact, it was probably as good as episode 19 of Demon Slayer. Fire Force does a fantastic job at providing a diverse range of abilities using a single element of fire. The abilities of these brothers are a prime example of the variety in flame powers, and the scientific theories explaining the impossible were equally compelling. One can slow down the expansion of the universe, bringing time to an almost halt, while the other can travel at the speed of light. The animation managed to capture these time-defying abilities perfectly. One Punch Man KO'd the anime industry by breaking the traditional conventions of a protagonist. Saitama was overwhelmingly strong from the very first episode, and yet the battles were still entertaining to watch. However, some characters, like Genos, couldn't fully grasp the extent of Saitama's powers, and this little training session was a moment of enlightenment for Genos. A no-contact punch was sufficient to vaporize a mountain and split the sky in two. If that punch had landed, Genos would be irreparable. However, the most impressive part was Saitama's little tap on Genos' head. An unfathomable amount of control must have been needed for that tap not to have erased Genos' head off.
腹減った。飯だ飯。うどん食いに行こうぜ。
行きましょう。何が起きてるんだ。この魔力はユリウス様。何者かと交戦中だ。
The Wizard King is phenomenally strong, and the only reason that Patry even had a chance was because of William's body. A clever tactic by Patry, limiting the Wizard King to techniques that can only capture him alive instead of his instant kill beams. But even so, he was still far too powerful with his ability to control time. Additional layers of tricks of using the entire kingdom as hostage was necessary to have a shot at the Wizard King. These underhanded methods may have eventually taken him down, but not before emphasizing just how impressive the Wizard King is. He alone protected an area covering the entire kingdom, with a mana zone greater than anything we've seen before. Looking forward to him fighting a worthy foe without any restrictions.
どこだ。この男のグリモワールは。私のグリモワールなら。
This surprise fight that took place towards the end of the season was a fundamental moment for the new #1 hero to establish his presence to both the civilians and villains. Unlike All Might, he had to work hard all his life to chase after the #1 hero, but being forcefully placed in the #1 hero's shoes meant they had to work even harder to prove his worth. This is what makes this fight that much more impactful, as he relentlessly pushes past his limits against this powerful new foe. He goes so far as using his greatest rival's signature phrase, plus ultra, demonstrating his growth to do whatever it takes to fulfill his task as a hero. Demon Slayer's primary reason for popularity is the gorgeous animation. Almost all fights from Demon Slayer can make it in a visually stunning anime fights video. On Volume 1, we looked at the famous Episode 19 fight, but this fight against the Spider Demon was not too far off to Episode 19. Unlike the other Demon Slayers who have several sword techniques, this Slayer mastered a single move to the utmost peak. His usual self may be slightly annoying, but when he is serious, he is a total badass, and this animation did justice to show just how powerful he is. Once he masters the other forms, he will be an incredibly powerful Demon Slayer. Fate Grand Order may not have been animated by Ufotable, but the animation was still fantastic. Babylonia tells the story of the 7th Fate Grand Order Singularity, and the great news is that you do not need to watch or have played any of the other Fate series to enjoy this. It's a standalone anime by Cloverworks, who did a fantastic job at bringing the scenes to life and making this a beautiful adaptation of the game. Even if the story isn't to your liking, almost every episode has a dazzling fight scene that will for sure keep you entertained. If you love action with beautiful animation, then this is definitely for you. If you enjoyed that, a like would be a huge help in taking this channel to the next level. And remember to subscribe for many more top 10s to come.